advertising session. So I am super stoked for this. Just so you guys are aware, we are streaming on other channels as well, which means we will have a replay. So if hopefully I say something smart and you want to go back and revisit it, the best place is going to be actually on our YouTube channel. So I'm super stoked for that. So welcome. For those of you who haven't joined one of these before or you're unsure of the format, so the way that it works is you have a little like raise a hand option at the bottom of your screen. So the way that this is work is I'm going to be here for an hour, and if you have any Amazon advertising questions that you would like me to answer for you live, what you'll do is you'll be able to raise a hand and I will bring you up onto the stage, which at that point you'll have to unmute yourself. So there's some people who get it's a little bit kind of funky in the beginning. It takes a second to load, but you should be able to unmute yourself and then ask your Amazon advertising question live. So if anyone has anything, there is no question too big or too small. And I really like this audio format because it allows us to have sort of like a back and forth dialogue as opposed to someone just asking the question live. But I see that there's a couple people who have joined some of our other live streams. So we're streaming live again on YouTube, which it looks like that's where people are listening in from. So if you would like, feel free to drop your Amazon ad question in the comments. I will be answering those as I can, but I'm going to prioritize the people on the LinkedIn live audio event. So anyways, I appreciate anyone for joining. It looks like we have a first hand raise, although it looks like you lowered your hand. I believe I'm pronouncing it right. Karen. So if anyone has any questions who is joining through the Amazon advertising live for the LinkedIn session. So it looks like we have another one. I appreciate you being the first one up. So I'm going to click allow you to speak. That should bring you up. Cool. All right. So you should be live. Feel free to unmute and ask your question.
Hey, Elizabeth.
Hello. So nice how are you? I appreciate it.
All going good. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
I keep on following your content and thank you so much for providing all the value.
Yeah, for sure.
I had a query regarding a brand which I'm just unable to understand to scale. So is that okay if I just go ahead with the question?
Yeah, absolutely. Dive in.
Sure. So this product belongs to a supplement category, right? And it is just a new product, right? We have just got some wine reviews, but I'm unable to understand that I'm getting sales the last month, which is via pat campaigns or keywords, but this individually an exact match or exact match pat campaigns. So is it due to the fact that my product is new and I just
yeah. Sorry, your audio cut out for us.
There is a just a new product.
Okay, cool. So just so I'm going to clarify the question and then I'll go about answering it. So your question was you're starting up with some Amazon advertising. The space is super competitive, being that it's a supplement brand, and you're only currently getting sales through product targeting ads, and you're not getting any sales through exact match, and you're kind of trying to figure out why. Is that the question?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. And I'm not getting if I target the same things again and again, right? I'm just getting spends but not conversions. So that's the query.
Yeah.
So what can be done or
Yeah, so I would say first off, if you are getting sales through product targeting, I wouldn't sweat it. At least you're getting sales. I would be more upset if you weren't getting any sales whatsoever through product targeting or through like keyword targeting. And this is not an uncommon scenario and one that we have actually experienced in other products. They weren't necessarily a supplement product, but it is entirely possible. And the reason why is because for whatever reason, your product does not seem appealing when it's on a particular search page. However, it does seem appealing when it appears on a product page. So as far as like the buyer psychology behind it, that's essentially what it is. How to fix it? I'm not 100% sure if there's a really great way to fix it. The only thing that we've done in the past is maybe going through and reverse ASIN searching the products you are gaining sales from, and just kind of seeing where they're ranking and seeing if there's any way that you can maybe glean
Understood.
whatever
Yeah.
potential keywords. The other thing is, so we were able to get an Amazon Choice badge strictly off of product targeting. So there is some keyword indexation through product targeting. I would say short term, I would be fine with doubling down on product targeting if it's what's working for the brand to drive sales. And that, again, is going to help with your indexation. The only thing I would caution you against in sort of only prioritizing product targeting is if you have a single competitor targeting that is, like, say, driving the bulk of your advertising performance. If all of a sudden that competitor, say, like, significantly drops prices or puts a coupon or does a deal, all of a sudden your conversion rate on that page is going to drop. And if that's driving the bulk of your, like, ad performance, all of a sudden the account's going to, like, go to crap overnight.
Got it.
So that's
Got
all
it.
it is.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for the overview. Thanks.
Yeah, no, thanks for the question. It was a great question. I appreciate it. Cool. I'm going to move
Thank
you
you.
down to listening. Looks like we have another question. Hand raised. So for those of you just joining, welcome, welcome. We're doing an Amazon advertising Ask Me Anything session. So if you have an Amazon advertising question, if you're watching it live on other channels, video, feel free to leave a comment in the box and I'll bring that up. Otherwise, if you are in the LinkedIn audio event, feel free. There's a raise a hand button. You can raise your hand and be brought up to ask a question. Awesome. So I appreciate it. Feel free to go and unmute and ask your question. Looks like you're on mute. I'm always terrible at pronouncing names. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna say Shaman, I think is how you pronounce your name. But if you're able to unmute and ask your question, if not, I'm gonna bring up the next Amazon ad question. Cool. So Shaman, I'm gonna put you down to listening, and then Nick, I'm gonna bring you up to ask your question. And if I have to lower your hand because of kind of like microphone issues, feel free to raise your hand again, and we'll bring you up once you can get the mic situation fixed up. Awesome, Nick. I appreciate you coming up. How can I help?
Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you very much that let me speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just wondering, like I sent you request to the friends. So please you just add me, and as well, I'm curious if we can show you our solution for Amazon ads. We are developing it with Steam. So I just wondering if it's possible.
Yeah, potentially. To be honest, I get a lot of messages these days to test ad platforms. Yeah, be curious to know. So what is it that when you say for management, is it like a full service software solution? Like what is it that you feel like you're solving that's unique in the market?
Yeah, it's like a full cycle ads management. So we do it a little bit in reverse with like solutions that are available on the market right now, because we do it through AI and machine learning, and as well in combination with our people, because you know, like you can't rely on 100% on AI. So we do it in combination with people and with our algorithms, and increase ad effectiveness, and just make your ad ROI much more higher.
Very cool. Very cool. What do you feel is a unique offering with the AI that you're doing? Like, how are you using it differently?
Yeah, because we do it in personal. So, for instance, if we compare it, let's say, with something else, it's more like a self-service, but we do it, more on the personal approach. So we have weekly meetings. We have just 6 team members that are responsible for your particular brand, ASIN, and business. So we don't spread and work just precisely with you.
Mhm.
And as well, we are focused on the result. Yeah, and we are much more flexible in terms of prices as well, and quality.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, I would say just so you're aware of the general sentiment in the space, a lot of people want AI to work. I myself want AI to work, and I've been relying a lot on ChatGPT and other AI solutions myself for processes outside of Amazon advertising. But there was a huge push, I think, a couple years back to use AI as a ad management solution, and a lot of accounts got burned. So I think the unique challenge you're going to have when it comes to marketing your solution is kind of probably better. I would lead with like a hybrid solution, and I would lead with demonstrating how that, like, what are the manual inputs that are available. Because most of us who are in the weeds, and most people who have any level of knowledge of management, they are wary of any completely automated solution that simply has, say, one ACOS input or something. Those types of solutions are actually really difficult to get performance out of. So it sounds like you guys are building something cool, though. So I definitely commend you and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, yeah, good luck.
Thanks. Awesome. I'm gonna move you down to listening. So I'm gonna bring up the next person. So we got a couple people here. Saeed, I'm going to allow you. You should be able to unmute and ask your question.
Hello, Elizabeth.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. How can I help?
So basically, I wanted to ask you. I recently started PPC
Mm-hmm.
management myself, and I run a brand of like baby accessories, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And so the hard time I'm having is that like some of my listings, I have like 3 to 5 variants.
Mm.
Um,
Yes.
and they're like this, it's like a baby boy something, and it's a baby girl something, and then it's like a unisex something.
Yep.
And I'm having a hard time understanding how to run campaigns for that, um, because it kind of gets like confusing,
I
um,
agree.
to get keywords in, and like like because there's some high search volume keywords that are not like specific to a baby boy or a baby girl, but then they're also converting and stuff. So it's like, how do you manage variations is what my question is basically.
That is a great question, and one that honestly you're not the first person to puzzle over this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a snapshot answer to this, so a basic answer, and then because this is such a burning question, I actually just put, I think it was last week, I put out a video on our YouTube channel specifically going over how to advertise variations and a little bit more of the metrics and the why behind what it is that we do. So I would suggest go and watch that. But for the benefit of all the listeners here, I'm going to give you a snapshot answer. The answer
Sure.
is for anything that is like you said, generic, right? So it's not specific to anyone. It's not girl or boy or blue or pink or etc.
Yeah.
I would advertise the best sellers on those particular search pages. So the rationale is we have no idea what exactly the shopper wants, and we want to make sure that we put our best foot forward in the terms of sales, but also what has the best conversion rate. So I would look at business reports, and that's something I cover in the video. Like, okay, go here, sort by this, look at these two things. And then anything that is specific to a specific variation, so boys, girls, blue, pink, etc., you would want to make sure that those relevant variations are the ones that you advertise on those specific search terms. So that's what we do. It's kind of like a hybrid approach. Now, the one pro tip I'm going to give you is depending on how good the brand is at maintaining stock. So examples, we manage clothing accounts. I mean, like, talk about a logistical nightmare when it comes to keeping stock. So it's very, very common for, black mediums. Goodness, you can never keep those things in stock. So because your ads are retail aware, if those products go out of stock, your ads are going to, stop showing because you no longer have the buy box. So for accounts where we find that they kind of have volatility in just how well they can keep stock in, oftentimes we will put the top 2 or maybe 3 best sellers in those campaigns, or the top 2 or 3 best sellers of, say, the blue or the pink or whatever it is, just to make sure that we maintain consistency of ads.
Okay. Okay. So when you have like variations like baby boy and stuff like that, it's just a variation of that. So it's like it's basically a color variation.
Yep.
And I have another product which is basically in the category of sheets. So like the sheet sets,
Yep.
the home product. So how do you do when it comes to color and size? Like how are you supposed to then set up campaigns for that? Or that's also covered in the video that you just told me about?
Yep. So it would be covered in the video. So one thing, pro tip we've done in bedding, if
Yeah.
you have all the different sheet sizes, so for instance, queen, king, twin, whatever, we have had
Yeah.
tremendous results when we say if we can identify a queen keywords, advertising the queen size variations.
So like put all of them in one campaign with all the queen keywords. You're
Yep.
saying basically.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I got it.
The reason why we found this works so well is that unfortunately, the algorithm, it seems to be getting a little bit better, but it's not honestly that great at surfacing specific variations, because oftentimes those search terms just don't have enough volume for the algorithm to really get any statistical data. So oftentimes what it does is it keeps serving up the best sellers in that category, but those best sellers aren't always relevant to the actual shopper search. So what we've found is that if we can make the connection for the algorithm and make sure that we're serving up the relevant products, the conversion rates on those campaigns are phenomenal. Downside is it's an absolute pain in the ass to set them up. But as long as you can put in the time and the effort, they're well worth doing.
So I just had one last question. If there's time, if there's no time, that's okay.
Yeah. If we could do it super quick. We got about 3 more people, but I got time.
Okay. So this question is it's more about not variations and stuff, but it's like if you're in the beginning of your launching phase, or like you have crossed your launching phase, I would say a little bit, but so like how do you set up, like, because I've read a lot about I was watching a lot of videos and people are recommending that the best ads to run is like basically the auto campaign, product targeting, and exact campaigns. But there's other campaigns that someone was running for me from before, and somehow the broads and the phrases are doing really well as well. So
Yep.
so what is the approach in the, because there's 5 different types of campaigns that you can run basically.
Yep. Yeah, so I would say in the beginning, we like starting off with sponsored product exact match, just because you can get very specific with where the products are going to show up, right? So 2 things you're doing in the beginning. One, you're just trying to get sales for the product and get conversions. But the second thing you're actually wanting to do is vet the shopper, like who's purchasing, vet the product, right? So if I'm gonna show up on I always give the example of water bottle. It's kind of a classic time old. Everyone else likes garlic press, but it's essentially like if I have a water bottle, if I do say women's pink metal water bottle, right? That's super, super specific to my product. If I do metal cup, that's not very relevant at all. So the idea is you're trying to find where you have decent shopper search on highly relevant keywords. And if you're not converting on highly relevant keywords, well, then that's a signal there's some misalignment with your shopper base. So that also can be very helpful feedback in the beginning. When you're launching on, say, broader phrase, autos, etc., you're showing up all over the place, and those places may or may not be relevant to the product. You might get conversions, but it's kind of hard to really vet the product to the shopper market.
So so doing like broad and freeze, it's better to do exact if you have like softwares like Helium 10 and stuff like that, basically.
Yeah, so you want to do super relevant keyword research. I actually have an entire, I think it's like a 1 hour thing on keyword research specifically for product launches. I would recommend that's on the YouTube channel as well. I would recommend watching that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for all your
Yeah, of
for your
course.
time and
I appreciate the
everything.
good
Thank you so
questions.
much. Thank you. Bye.
Cool. Awesome. All right, Peyton, you are up next. I'm gonna bring you up. Cool. Feel free to unmute and ask a question. And for those of you listening, and we have a couple people in queue, but hang on, I'm here
Hey,
till
Elizabeth.
1.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, really appreciate, good. Really appreciate the chance to talk and have this great discussion
For sure.
midway through the week, especially before Black Friday is coming up.
Yes, it's coming. It's bearing down on us.
So my question is, just really broad. We've seen great performance on all the tentpole events this year. Prime Day deals has been really great for us. So we're really excited about Black Friday. At Trademark, we manage about 500 or 5,000 ASINs, and we have a team of 5 PPC managers. So I wanted to ask, we have most of our deals set up. Our merchandising department has that all covered. But for things that aren't going to be on a deal during the Turkey 5, is it a valid strategy to try to get some of that traffic with things that aren't going to necessarily be on discount? And how should we identify ASINs that might be a good fit for that? Thanks.
That's a really, really great question. So follow-up question there. When you say no deals, are you thinking like no lightning deals, or is it like no coupons, no nothing?
We could possibly get some last minute coupons on there. But just, they won't have the same kind of placements. They won't have the same kind of lightning deal badges or anything like that.
Yeah. I would say one thing we have found, like we had one client, what was it like? I don't think it was this year. I think it was last year. And that was on our Prime Day. So you put like the 20% off coupon, which is a significant coupon. And you got like the Prime Day deals badge for doing that. He ran, like his stuff is not at all, like it's not giftable. It's sort of like a yard product, but it's not something you would ever give as gifts. It's like a yard sign. He was like day of, he's like, I just threw some coupons on there. And he had a like insane lift on Prime Day, which was really surprising because it's like I said, it's not like what you would think of as a Prime Day deal type products. So what we've seen is that even a small coupon can create some lift, and which doesn't always necessarily have to like eat into margins. So that might be helpful and something to look into. As far as pushing the products, so our general strategy when it comes to like say tentpole days is to always go through the entire account, with a fine tooth comb, eliminate anything that we've been trying to test and have no valid test data on, or that we've just seen doesn't have good performance. I mean, you always go through like clicks with no sales. It's a very like routine adjustment, but it's like going over, looking at really long time horizons, making sure that we have everything cleaned up. There's nothing in there that's going to like say pop off when all of the traffic hits. Making sure our main keywords were in a good position that makes sense for us, and then just monitoring budget stay of. That's really what we do, unless we have, say, a major keyword that for some reason we just absolutely have to maintain market share and it's going to get super competitive day of, and we have to like watch it like a hawk and adjust bids. For the most part, day of, we're adjusting budgets. We're not even touching bids. So for the rest of the catalog, I would say probably just do that. And then if you have anything with good historical performance that's running on a budget, like just give it more juice. And then that typically feeds into good profitability.
Yeah, I think we've left a little bit of money on the table these past couple of events. Even though they've been phenomenal, we could probably push them a little bit harder. So wish you a great Black Friday, and everybody else here have a great Black Friday.
Yeah, you too. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for the question. Cool. All right, I'm gonna bring the next person up. And if anyone's watching this live on YouTube or other channels, feel free to drop a comment. And if we have time, I'll make sure that we get to your questions as well. Otherwise, for everyone listening live on LinkedIn, we got a couple people in the queue, a couple of hands raised. But if you want to come up and ask your Amazon advertising question, there should be a raise a hand option at the bottom. So Fahid, I think it's Fahid. Feel free to unmute and ask.
Hi, Elizabeth. How are you?
Hello. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. So, I have been following you for quite some time now, and yes, and I have gone through your videos and your articles and videos on your organic and the balance between organic and sponsored. So I have some questions on that.
Sure.
So yes, so here's my first question: that is there a process that you use that that you can anticipate that will you be profitable on some specific keywords after ranking on the top 10 positions?
Yeah, that's a good question. The short answer is no. Trust me, I've been down that rabbit hole trying to figure out with say search query report and can you identify. The reason why you can't 100% say yes is because there's no way to fully anticipate the lift in sales volume when you hit a certain placement in rank. And the reason why is because there's no universal sales lift increase. It really varies by shopper search. So for instance, if you have a shopper that's typed in a very specific search query, especially in clothing, that's why clothing conversion rates tend to be so low, is people get super, super picky on the type of clothing that they're looking for. They want a specific cut, they want a specific shade of blue. So the search that happens, people will go all the way down to page 3 sometimes on those search queries. Versus other ones, you absolutely, if you're not on page 1, you get no visibility whatsoever. So equating search rank to like an absolute dollar amount lift in sales volume, it's impossible. If you had the data to do it, like if you could say like, oh, salesperson number 1 when is making this, or rank number 2 is making this through this specific query, yeah, that would be an easy calculation. The problem is the data is not available. I don't anticipate it ever being available. So really what you have to do is just test it. And how you would test it is say, okay, I'm going to track my rankings, and then I'm going to you can use search query to kind of see like what the orders are, but orders, those only include search orders, which I guess can be helpful, but you make orders other places as well. Oftentimes what we'll do is we'll look at the ranking, and then we'll just gauge our sales lift and say, all right, it's like theory, test, analyze. So it's like my theory is if I rank higher on the shopper search, I'm going to generate more sales. Great. I rank higher in the shopper search. Did I generate more sales? Yes or no? And that's really what you have to, that's how you go about it. So unfortunately, I don't have a silver bullet, but I've tried to find it. I can't find it.
So, what I have understood is that it's mostly all about sales, and for profitability, you'll have to test it. Just by ranking, in the top 10 positions. Other than that, there is no way to go about it. Is that right?
Yeah. Okay. So what you can kind of do on the profitability metrics would be, okay, how much extra ad spend do I need to say push for top of search and rank on this particular keyword? You can pretty much calculate that. So you would say, total A cost is simply ad spend divided by total sales, right? So profitability wise, you could say, all right, if I have a extra $1,000 that I'm spending on this particular search, if I added $1,000 to what I'm currently spending, what does that look like in total A costs? So that forecast as far as profitability, that's possible. Just the only thing that you don't know is when I rank, how does that affect my sales? And does that make me more or less profitable? That's the thing you have to test.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you for your answer.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I have a question, if I have time.
Yeah. If you can ask it quick, we had a couple more, but I think we have time.
Okay. So, but if we have keywords that we have a good conversion rate on, but due to high CPCs, high bids, you're not making profitable sales on PPC. Should I continue, advertising it for ranking? I mean, I have the budget, but
Mhm.
I mean, I think the is probably the same again, but I think you can throw some light on it, and hopefully I'll have more depth in terms
Yeah,
of understanding.
absolutely. Yeah, so you're right. It is it is kind of a test and see answer again. But I would say context here is the product overall profitable? So you're never going to get into an account and have every single campaign and every single target in your account profitable at a profitable ACOS. It's just not going to happen due to difference in cost per click, difference in conversion rate. And then to your point, there are some targets that are really important to our brand and to the sales of our brand to be able to run on. And there's just no way to get them profitable due to the cost per clicks and the conversion rate on them. That's completely normal. So what I would say is, again, it's kind of like ratios of like what percentage of my total spend for this product am I allocating towards this? And then if I look at, say, my blended ACOS or my blended tacos, meaning like the total sum of my sales, total sum of my ad spend, is that profitable? So if I was highly profitable from a total ACOS and ACOS perspective on product, and I saw the sales lift from being able to run aggressive ads on a particular keyword, even if that campaign or that ad spend was at 100% ACOS, if my total ACOS was within my target, say like something crazy, say it was like 10 or 15%, right? And that's where the brand wants to be, I would be fine with keeping that 100% ACOS unless I said, hey, there's some better use for this ad spend. But if I could be super profitable overall and help maintain sales lift, I'm going to do it. The question is just, are you profitable? And a lot of times, if that one campaign is eating up, if you had like 50% of your spend on 100% ACOS keyword, well, you're not going to be profitable just because the numbers don't work out. So that's how I would look at it: was, are you profitable overall? And then if yes, maybe maintain. If no, can we pull back on ad spend here and still maintain sales?
Okay, thank you. And what if it's it's the launch phase, and you and I haven't really seen any profitability in the launch phase. So what do in that case?
Yeah, so you won't. You're never going to see profitability on launch phase. I want to say never. If the product like converts like crazy and it's like hot potatoes and you can't keep it in stock, then yeah, maybe you'll be fine. The reason why profitability isn't great is, one, the high cost per clicks needed to test, and then two, generally lower conversion rates of products due to not really having any reviews or being new to the market, or maybe the listing isn't completely as retail ready as we thought. So I would say the one thing that balances out high ACOS is, to your point, that ad to organic ratio, which we call ad sale percentage, and that's how we calculate it. But the higher your organic sales, the less your ACOS is going to matter to the total account of the product. So if I had a product, I mean, I just audited another account. They're doing, what is it? Their ACOS right now, I think, is about at 100%, but they're only doing about 17% of their sales through ads. So their total ACOS is actually like 12 or 13%. Which is fine. So in their case, they can afford to run at that high ACOS because overall account profitability is totally fine. The reason why you struggle on launch is because in the beginning, when you have 100% of your sales driven through ads, your tacos is going to equal your ACOS. So if ACOS is terrible in the beginning, tacos is going to be terrible in the beginning. So name of the game is to, one, generate organic visibility through ranking. So that's your first and foremost priority. And then you want to be able to figure out targets that do convert, so you can start shifting ad spend to the things you're confident that work. And that just takes time. So I would say as long as you focus on organic lift, spending on things that are actually driving sales long term, you can get things profitable. It's just generally speaking, 99.9% of the time, it's not going to be like day one of launch.
Okay, great. Thank you. And one last question, please. Just one last question. And if you're in the, you're on the top 10 position, you have the organic rank on the, you're on the 10th spot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, it's not getting any better. What processes or what techniques, would you suggest?
Yeah. So if I'm continuously pushing ad spend and I'm not seeing it coming back in ad rank, I just wouldn't spend as much on that target. You cannot spend as much two ways. You can either lower the bids on it or you can lower your campaign budgets. Those are two ways to limit spend.
Okay, thank you. That's great. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. I appreciate the three of you who have been waiting ever so patiently. So I'll be here for another good 20 minutes or so. So I'm sure we'll be able to get to everyone. Your name says member. So do you want to introduce yourself and then ask your Amazon ad question?
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Elizabeth. How are you?
I'm doing well, How can I help?
I'm also. Yeah, I have just one question.
Mhm.
Like, if a new brand is coming
Mhm.
and they have some products, so what is the strategy of Amazon PPC of campaigns to creating the campaign to get good result or good ranking
Yep.
in category?
So you want to prioritize two things in the beginning. So to the point of the last caller who was asking about profitability on ranking and why I was, or on launch, and why I was saying it's next to impossible is because cost per clicks are typically high because you're prioritizing impressions at that point because you just want to make sure to get that visibility, and then oftentimes conversion rate is low. So what you want to do is you want to start with your ad budget. And much as that seems backwards, it really depends on the budget of the brand. If I went with a brand, two brands, like same exact product, listings are one for one, but one of the brands had, say, a ginormous catalog, they were highly profitable, they had immense amount of ad spend to throw at their new product launch, versus another brand that this is their first product, they have a very restrictive ad budget, and there's only so much that they can spend. Those two ad strategies are going to be polar opposites of each other. So you want to start with, hey, what kind of ad spend are we looking at? What is possible? And then what you want to do is you want to do specific keyword research. So I would definitely recommend going and watching the keyword research workshop that we have on our YouTube channel. That's going to go much more in depth than I can on this call. But essentially, you are looking for highly relevant keywords. And then what you want to do is you want to find the intersection where you have good shopper search volume. So one unique aspect of Amazon platform is you are not creating demand, you are simply harnessing it. Other ad platforms, like you're creating audiences, and so you can kind of pull more people into the audience and sort of, in a way, create demand that way. Amazon, you're simply saying, where are the shoppers searching? And then I'm going to show up on those search pages, and then they're going to search and find the product. So you're looking for the intersection between where the keywords are very specific to your exact product, but you still have a good amount of shopper search. Rule of thumb, generally speaking, not always, is that the more specific the shopper search is, the less volume. The more broader the shopper search is, typically the higher the search volume there is, but the less relevancy and less conversions you're going to see on the broader searches. So you're like, where can I get good visibility and still be specific to my product? And then what you want to do is you want to take that list and then you want to curate it versus what the brand's budget is. So if I had a list, and you can actually, Helium 10 does have, what is it? The Amazon's recommended bids. So you can kind of get an idea of what the cost per clicks look like there. Or you can do it manually if you don't have Helium 10. You can go into the ad console and just sort of what I call create a dummy campaign, which is simply you act like you're going to launch something, but you don't actually launch it. If you put in the keywords, you'll actually see what Amazon's recommended bid is for those keywords. And that can give you an idea of, okay, it's going to cost me this much per click. I think my conversion rate is going to be this. So this is how many clicks I'm going to need to generate a sale. This is how many sales I need to rank. And you can actually forecast out sort of what your ad budget would need to be to rank on those keywords. And a lot of times people are very surprised at how much ad budget it actually takes. I would be okay with launching on 5 keywords versus 100 keywords if that's the budget that I had to support. The worst thing you can do on a launch is create this huge, extravagant launch strategy and the brand not have the budget to support it, because 2 days in, you're going to have to cut half of your launch and you're just going to have wasted all that ad spend.
Okay, Elizabeth, there is one more question. If you are creating the campaign strategy, then what are the strategy we are taking? What I start with sponsor product or auto campaigns or sponsor display. What is the funnel of these campaign type? Can you just tell me?
Yep. So in the beginning, you're probably going to start with sponsor product exact match. Our brands that are spending, like $20,000 a month versus all of our brands that are spending, say, upwards of $100,000 a month. Some brands spending millions a month. Every account is still going to have the majority of the ad spend in sponsored products. So if you had to start with one thing, if you had to focus on one thing, if you had the budget for one thing, I would be totally fine with using sponsored products.
Okay, and after that, auto and sponsor display and brand.
Yep. So I would say auto campaigns, sponsored brands video tends to convert really well. So if the brands have the creatives for it, we like using that. Sponsors display ads, ASIN targeting specifically works really, really well, especially if you've vetted certain products that your brand performs well on in sponsored products. It makes total sense to roll that into sponsored display ads.
Okay, Elizabeth, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully it was helpful.
Okay.
I'm going to move you to listing. So we got a couple more hands up. I have a hard stop at 1, but we got plenty of time. So if anyone else has an Amazon ad question, feel free to use the raise a hand option and you can unmute and ask your question.
Hey, Elizabeth. Hi.
Hello. How are you?
How are you?
I'm doing well.
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Elizabeth, I have a couple of questions. I'll quickly step on all of those. The first one is, which platforms do you recommend to get more outside traffic, and which will be the kind of a platform which will convert for my brand?
So not Amazon ads, external traffic?
Yes, this is an external traffic in conjunction of my Amazon ad strategy. So currently I am spending for a lot of my campaigns on Amazon PPCs, but I feel there's some more room where I can go around and get more additional traffic on Amazon store page or maybe the listing page of the searches, dedicated with the keywords which I have planned in my mind for my categories, right? So my agenda with this strategy is to get me SEO ranked better on Amazon.
Okay,
So,
got it. Yeah. So external traffic is not something we deal with in-house. This is my expertise kind of ends. I will tell you that I've heard a lot of people have results with Google traffic, Google ad traffic. There are specific platforms that allow you to, that are built around driving Google traffic to Amazon. So I would check those out. The one that I've heard a lot of people really like is called Amped. Is a good one. I know there's another one that's popular. It's escaping me now what it is.
Is that landing cubes?
Possibly. And again, these are things that people in my network, I've heard good things. I don't have any personal experience with it though.
Sure, not a problem. My second question is on the VCPM campaigns. What % of sales could be catered to these campaigns roughly? Just because there are too much of sales coming in via this campaigns, and I really can't attribute all of those to my sales just because when I look at my TAC cost, which is total like cost sales, I really couldn't relate it with the exact numbers which has been shown out there, right? So
Yeah.
what would be your
So you can use a click attribution model to these, and I was talking with one of my account managers today, and I think if you go inside the bulk file, I'm pretty sure the bulk file uses click attribution for this ad type, so you might want to look into that. I would say if you really want to track it, I would look at click attributions for CPM. It's a completely views attributions is a completely different model that's pretty foreign to a lot of Amazon advertisers. It's a completely different attribution model. I would say if you really want to track it, I would look at the click attribution.
click attributions? Okay, fair, not a problem.
Yep.
The third one is that how do I rank better on Amazon SEO? Just because while I'm searching it on Amazon on the very first page, I can find my products, but I'm on the second or third fold of the page, right? So, is there a way where I could go around and get myself indexed better on it just because I'm using a lot of keywords on my ad campaigns, which is by manual keyword targeting campaigns on the category keywords, just because brand is something I have a different idea, which I want to check with you on later. But how do I correct my SEO strategy on this piece via the ads is what I want to understand a little bit more crisper from you.
So by the ads, so anything that has good positive signals with clicks and conversions and add to carts gives you sort of SEO indexation. And if you're wondering if you're indexed for something, you can go and reverse ACE and search the product. And most keyword tools will tell you if you have indexation.
Okay, but with this, I have one more challenge. I have good CTRs with the popular keywords for the category, but I'm not able to convert more than 8 or 9% for this amount of traffic which I'm building in, right? On my alternate purchase reports, which I find it on the brand analytics, I see there are few other 3 competitors who are making a worthy enough while they are adding over my products ASINs, right? So is there any other further way that I could build my sales on these keywords?
Yeah, so it would be
losing a
it would be increasing your conversion rates, which is easier said than done. Mostly that has to do with your detail page. So images, reviews, price point, discounts, all of those things. Anything you can do that increases your conversion rate will help you boost. To your point, the actual issue why you're not ranking is that your competitors are converting and selling more than you.
Perfect. That's pretty well said. But the competitors which I'm seeing is they are pretty much on a very low price points, which is like almost 40% steeper than me, right? I would sell a product which on a very premium cost if I consider an Apple and a Samsung, right? So that's how I would differ, right? In terms of price points. So I really can't give away the discounts to the consumers just because I'm really offering them a very great quality. And a consumer, I can see in the brand, in the loyalist segment of my brand analytics, I have a good amount of people out there, right? So,
so I have seen people be able to dominate a category at a higher price point with a premium product. The thing you're going to have to focus on is absolutely conveying without a shadow of a doubt to your customers that you are the premium product. And caveat, and this is like hard truth, is the customers have to care about purchasing a premium product. Now, there will always be a segment of the market that wants the premium product, but I'm trying to think of a specific instance, like, I don't know, say a squirt bottle, right? Like a water spray bottle. If you have a $3 product and you have a $15 product, does that particular consumer care that they have a premium product? Now, a hairdresser might care because they're like, I'm using this product consistently. It has to work. It has to not break. A housewife is going to say, I just needed to spray the plants once a week. I don't care. right? One consumer cares about that, the other consumer doesn't. So you want to like identify the section of the market that says, I want to buy the premium product, which again, easier said than done, but it is doable. And then the other thing is your detail page must 100% convey. So product images are important here. Your packaging is important here. If I'm buying a premium product, I'm paying for not only just a good product, I'm paying for that premium experience. And that's why like high-end restaurants or high-end car dealers, like they give you the water, they employ the best staff, your experience is like on point, and people are willing to pay for it. I could go to like a junky burger joint and probably get a burger that's just as good as, you know, some of the top restaurants, but I'm not going to get that sit down gorgeous experience. So it's not going to cost me that. So I would think about, if you want to be the premium product, you 110% can, but it takes much more effort and understanding of the consumer than people sometimes realize.
Okay, fair. I think my second last question for you would be, I have ad campaigns on keyword types, which have good CTRs, and the conversion rates are not good for it. Possibly this could be a price issue. How could I rank better on SEO for these keywords, just because now I'm getting good CTRs, but my conversion rates are not that great?
Yeah, so that tells me that people are super interested in the product, but when they're landing on your listing, there's some disconnect between what they're looking for and what your listing is showing them. So I would actually look at the listing for this, and listing optimization and understanding of the customer. Again, it will take time and iteration, but I have seen products that are priced $10 above the current market can like do a really good job at conveying premium and be able to dominate a market. It is doable. You just got to work at it. And the other thing is, I would say if they're sort of, phrase match, broad match, more broader category or broad match type campaigns, I would take a look at the search term reports and see what you're actually showing up on. That might give you some clues.
Okay. Unfortunately, look, I'm not using any broad matches over here just because the category is way diversified and there is enough of traffic which keep burns on my ACOS all the time, and my TECOS also get burned a lot of time. Still being a profitable organization, I would wonder that doing broad will just burn my off the profits, and I'm a little skeptical to have a look at it, but maybe I can try it out for one of my campaign with a stipulated budget.
Yeah,
Maybe
so try
figure out
it. Try that. Just keep your bids low. Keep your bids like half of what you have in exact. Try that.
half the bids of my exact. Okay,
Yep.
perfect. Yeah, my last question would be, hey, while there are events which is like your Black Friday is coming ahead, the Prime Days just passed away a week back, right? I am a kind of a brand who wouldn't push too much on heavy discounting, while most of the competitions would do that. I would be on the top 20 bestsellers for Amazon in the subcategories, right? While the sale events comes in, right? I slip down maybe by 10 position, slip down on 30th or 35th, right? What could be done to be managed that kind of stuff? Just because
to not lose
I'm
ranking.
not here, yeah, to not lose ranking.
Make more sales. That sounds like the terriblest like non-answer, but honestly that is the answer. The harder question is, how do you do that? And I would say, given all the feedback you've given me, I would say try and see if you can bring up your conversion rates, and then I would actually test low bid broad match. I think you might find it surprising that it works well.
Broad match. It's a little. I've tried earlier sometime back. I got burnt myself in the initial phase of my.
Yep. So start anything that you're unsure of. Start with low bids. You can always increase the bids. Worst case scenario, it gets no impressions, and then you haven't spent anything anyways.
Sure. I think I may look at few of the campaigns. Maybe can I try with the SBV campaigns? Does that make more sense? Just because SBV will have better CTR, it will have a better conversion rate versus any of the other campaigns.
With sponsored
Sponsor brand videos. Sponsor brand videos.
Problem with sponsor brands video and low bids is that oftentimes you get no impressions just due to the limited availability of ad spots. So it's a lot easier to get impressions in low bid sponsor product ads.
But on the broad match?
Mhm.
On the broad match?
Yep.
Okay, fair.
Yep.
I'll just try myself on that.
Yeah,
Thanks for
I
answering.
appreciate it. Of course, of course. All right, I'm gonna move you back to listening. We have one more person raise their hand, and I highly appreciate you waiting. I hope you got value from the last person's questions, but appreciate you waiting. How can I help?
Hi, Elizabeth. Thanks for conducting this session.
Absolutely.
So, we sell in beauty category, right?
Mhm.
Primarily sunscreens and moisturizers.
Mm-hmm.
And I am facing this challenge for the past couple of months that my generic keywords ranking has been like going down month on month,
Mm-hmm.
and my only converting keywords are my branded keywords.
Mm.
So how do I rank better on generic keywords, and how do I improve my ROS?
Yeah, that's a good question. One, have you been tracking the conversion rates of the product? Has the conversion rates gone down?
No, the conversion rates are like stagnant month on month. If I look at the business reports,
Okay.
so they are more or less the same.
Okay. Have you lowered bids a lot, or have you lowered budgets a lot?
We generally keep lower budgets on the generic campaigns.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I mean that
So,
makes sense. If your
yeah.
cost per clicks are high, you wouldn't limit it. So I would say that strategy is
Yeah.
right.
Because my branded keyword campaign is the one that's like saving my ass.
Yeah.
Because yeah, that's the campaign that's giving me an ROS of 4 or 5, and all the other campaigns are performing very badly.
Mm-hmm. So I'd say poor performance in generic keywords is not abnormal for beauty.
Right.
Part of it might just be setting expectations for the brand as to what's possible.
Mhm.
I always say that could be a piece of it. So there's a couple things that might be happening. One thing that you can check, and what I would check, is brand metrics. Are you aware of where that is in the ad console?
Brand metrics.
Yes.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so for those of you listening, if you go into ad console on the left-hand side, there's like an icon. I think it has like an arrow graph thing. If you click on it, you'll see, providing you're brand registered, you can click on it, brand metrics. What that does is it gives you insights into how your conversion rate looks versus the entire category. So I would look, okay, so there's a couple things that could be happening. One, it could be that even though your conversion rate has remained steady, maybe the rest of the category has increased their conversion rate. So relative to the category, your conversion rate would technically be lower. The other thing that might have happened is you might have been maintaining consistent bids on things because obviously it's not performing. You don't want to increase it. And it could be that the rest of the category has significantly increased their bids. So again, relative to the category, your bids are not as competitive anymore. So I'm not sure. I mean, if you've been pulling helium-10 data, if you have any record of it,
No,
you
I
might.
don't use helium-10.
Okay. I'm trying to think what would be another good way to look at it.
But would it be wise to just run the branded campaigns, branded keyword campaigns, and not spend on generic keywords?
Not if you want to grow total sales long term.
Right.
So
Understood.
what I would say is
Yeah, I agree.
my first goal would be to identify search terms. I don't care if I find 2. I just or 1. I just want to find 1 or
Right.
2 search terms. I mean, if I can find 5 or 10, great. But oftentimes in these accounts, like there's just 1 or 2, right? Where besides my branded can I make sales? I just want to find it.
Correct.
In these accounts, if
Correct.
there's like literally nowhere else, sometimes you're like, crap, it's an auto campaign. It's my
Correct.
category targeting. It's my product targeting. At this point, if I'm making no sales outside of my branded, I just want to find something.
Correct. Correct.
So I would say look in the entire account, go over your search term reports. Where can I find 1 or 2 things that I get good conversion rates on? And then I just want to double down there.
So I'll tell you the challenge that I face in that.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to run our campaigns using phrase match, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the orders that I used to get were either competitor
Mm-hmm.
keywords or like the generic keywords that
Mm-hmm.
have high search volume.
Yeah.
But I usually have a low ROS on that.
Mm-hmm.
And given the competitor keywords, I used to get like 1 impression, 1 click, and 1 order. So
Mm-hmm.
that used to shoot my ROS. But that's not relevant for me.
Yeah.
So I am like I generally have a hard time, like taking a call about those keywords.
Yeah.
So that's
So
the
so
challenge. Right?
so maybe reading between the lines, are where you stuck is the brand basically mandating a high ROAS and you're not seeing anywhere in the account you can accomplish that other than branded? Is that
Yeah,
really where
that's
you're
the case.
stuck? Okay.
That's the case. Yes, yes.
Okay. I would go look. So on my YouTube channel, and I believe, let me make sure there's a resource there. I have one. Let me see. Where is it? I have a resource that is, I call it like a new way to calculate ACoS, and essentially, it's a really good way to illustrate to the brand. My guess is that the cost per clicks in your space are super high, and your conversion rate of the product is really low. So what you
Right.
want to illustrate to the brand is it's not me against you, it's us against the data and it's us against the market. That's where you're looking to be. And your job is going to be in, and this is a hard conversation. This is a conversation I have had to have more than once. And this account is going to grow you more as a good account manager than it is maybe you being able to fix this account long term. So I would take
Right.
this like a learning challenge for you personally and allow this to up level your personal skills as an account manager. What you want to
Correct.
do is you want to gather the information on your conversion rates. You want to gather the information in the cost per clicks in the space. And again, I'm trying to find. I feel free to personally message me after this, and I'll make sure you get the resource. There is I did a whole podcast with Michael from Ad Badger, kind of illustrating how to use it. This is a tool that I've
Sure.
used with other clients. I call it a new way to calculate ACoS. It's it's essentially a spreadsheet that it calculates ACoS as your, what is it? ACoS is ad spend divided by ad sale or total sales. So it's
Right.
your cost per click. And then multiplied by it factors in conversion rate into the ACoS equation, because oftentimes and it's not because the brands are trying to screw you or they're trying to make your life hard. It's that it's difficult to understand the correlation between a product performance and the ad performance, because those two things are correlated. And so what you
Right.
want to do is essentially illustrate to them. And so the way I've used this sheet before, I've done like a screen share with a client, just screen recorded, and be like, hey, look, your conversion rate went from a 5 to a 2. We didn't change anything in your cost per clicks. We didn't change anything. Look what that does to your ACoS and your ROAS. It essentially doubles it, right? I didn't do anything.
Yeah, that would
It's a
shoot up
market.
the ACoS.
Yeah, and so when you're able to illustrate things with data, and then what you also want to do is come up with a game plan, okay? And you want to give them options. So you want to say, hey, look, brand. So here's the lay of the land. Here's why your ROAS is the way that it is. It's because these are the things we're fighting against in the market. We're paying these high costs per clicks, not because I'm trying to be a jerk and screw you over and burn your ad budgets, but because this is what the Amazon platform is requiring to get visibility on these search pages. And all right.
Yeah, because the category is also, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
but
go
the
ahead.
category is also very, very competitive.
Yes, it is very competitive. So what I would give them is I would say, hey, look, we have two options here. One is if you want me to continuously get the ROAS that you've mandated, we're going to have to only advertise in your branded terms. Bottom line, if you want this ROAS, this is what we're doing. Now, my opinion as an expert account manager is that for the long-term sustainability of your brand, we're just going to be continuously dipping into the same pot, and you're never going to grow your market share because you're never going outside people who are already aware of your brand. And so to the degree that they're aware of your brand, that's your shopper pool, and it's never going to get bigger. And in fact, it's going to get smaller. The second option, which requires you to allow me to have a higher ROAS, is to say, okay, my job is to find the 2 or 3 terms that I think that we have an option to be able to rank on, right? So if you have them, great, show them to them. If you don't have them, then say, hey, my first job is to do this. And then you want to give them the tracking metrics that they're going to be able to say, all right, we're not looking at ROAS. What we're going to be looking at is we'll look at ROAS, but we also need to look at our introduce them to total ACoS if they're not aware of it. Say, all right, here's a way that we can look at ads in relation to your entire account profitability. And then the other thing that we're going to be looking at is to increase our total sales, right? So we're going to be tracking. So our theory is if we can grow market share, we're going to increase total sales, and overall profitability is going to be better because we're making more sales for the same ad spend. So I would just present it like that.
Understood. Thanks. But how do you judge a keyword? Like, is it based on the clicks that it has gotten, or is it based on the spends? Or is it based
I
on
would
the CPR?
base it on the clicks and the sales and the conversions.
Okay.
Based on that. Another pro tip here is one of the things that works really well in these types of accounts where there's little to nothing going on and every single click counts. You want to make frequent micro changes to bits. So instead of going into the account, say a couple times a week, you're like, all right, I'm going to apply these bid formulas. Go in, say once a day, look what is performing, what is not performing. You don't want to look at yesterday's data. You want to look at a decent amount of data, but a decent amount being like 14 days, 7 days, 30 days, something like that. And then just start saying, all right, this keyword's working for me. Let me bump it 2 cents. This keyword's not working for me. Let me bump it down 2 cents or 5 cents or whatever. Like very frequent micro changes will help you capitalize on the stuff that's working much quicker.
Right. But how frequent? Like, should it be every day?
Yeah, I would do it daily. Daily or every 2 days.
Understood. Yeah, every 2 days is fine.
Yep. And like I said, don't look at yesterday's data. Look at last 7 days or something.
Yeah, understood.
Cool.
Thanks.
I appreciate the question.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully it helps. Yeah, feel free to message me. Anyone else listening, if you want access to that resource, let me know on as far as the ACoS. It's got an ACoS forecasting and an ACoS calculation in it. So I'll
just text you.
Cool. Sounds good. And I know we have one more person hands
thanks.
raised, but I am going to have to run because I am late to a meeting. We went a couple minutes over, but I want to make sure I got to answer the last question. So I super appreciate it. I am going to be doing these at least once every week or once every other week, potentially once a week. So if you have any feedback on frequency of these, feel free to message me that as well. And as always, I'm going to see you all in the next one. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.